Hey guys, Dr. Krisher here, chiropractor from London, Ontario, Canada, helping you live an extraordinary life through the power of structural chiropractic care and life by design principles. On today's video, what's wrong with your shoulder? We're gonna be looking at, and I'm gonna be demonstrating and showing you tests that you can be doing at home to find out what's wrong with your shoulder. You're gonna need a partner, and I have a squeegee back there, but you're going to need some type of stick or rod to perform and preferably one that is, has arm is a little bit longer. But before we get there, please like, share, and subscribe. Let's get this information out to more people so they can figure out what's wrong, and then they can lead better and better lives too. Now, yes, there's going to be a talking head part first, and then we'll get to the exercises. But this is really the most important part of this video, is understanding the nature of injury. You'll hear people say, I have a rotator, specifically when it comes to your shoulder. And by the way, this applies to all health problems and all injuries. It's not simply enough to know what the offended or injured tissues are. And this is what you'll hear people say. And there's nothing wrong with this, right? They'll have an ultrasound or an MRI, or they'll say, my rotator cuff, or I have tendinitis, or dislocation, or labrum tear. Knowing what tissues are offended or injured is extremely important, but the part that gets, the part that gets neglected is how those tissues got there in the first place. So what we have to be cognizant of, or what we have to learn from, is what we're doing that continues to re-injure these things over and over again. Most injuries are not, I fell on my arm, dislocated my shoulder, and now I have a straightforward mechanism on why this happened. Typically what happens is something really innocuous. You bend over to pick something up, and you feel a pop, and now you can't lift your arm up over your head. Or with cases like frozen shoulder, what happens is slowly you lose the ability to lift your arm up overhead, or there's an injury that you're dealing with, and and then the next thing you know, you've lost that range of motion or that ability. So really, we can classify shoulder injuries into, there's two main primary ones, which is, or I guess you could just say that there's impingements. So something is actually stuck and it's unable to move. And then there's muscular imbalances, because remember, the shoulder is, they say it's a ball and socket joint. It's not really a ball and socket joint. It has to be able to slide back and forth. Mobility restrictions, meaning there's certain range. You'll see when I test myself, this shoulder's been, and I know what's wrong with it, but you'll see what some of the positive tests look like. And I wrote this down, so I'm reading. There's coordination problems, right? Your body isn't moving or coordinating well, and that's causing some type of injury. Or there's an instability. Something's hypermobile, something's moving way greater than it should be. And really, once you understand what aspect you fall into, it's much easier not just to start healing, the pain or calming things down, but you can find out what brought the problem on in the first place. Okay, so I have 3, and this is it would take hours for me to shoot a complete video on this. So let me give you 3 tests to get started. And the first one, what you're gonna be doing is you're gonna need a place to stand, and you're going to need a partner behind you. Preferably somebody who has a good eye, or somebody who knows what they're looking for. What you're gonna do is you're gonna stand with your back towards your partner like this. You're going to have, if you're comfortable with your shirt off, you could have your shirt off, or you could have clothing like a tank top on, something that we can see your shoulder blades. And all you're gonna do is you're gonna stand with your arms, palms facing forward out like this. They're gonna be behind you. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna lift your arms up like this. Now, what has to happen? I know it looks really, really simple, but what has to happen in order for you to achieve that is the shoulder blades on your back have to open up like this. And what your partner is gonna be looking for is if the shoulder blades and the muscles around the shoulder blades are moving equally on both sides. Because if they're not equally moving on both sides, the chances of, that's really a muscle strength and balance or a coordination problem. So we're looking for some types of clues. Okay, so that's test number 1. Test number 2 is you're going to be against the wall, legs crossed, you're going to have your stick arm, shoulder width apart. You want your back comfortable against the wall, head back against the wall. And what you're gonna do is try to get the stick back to the wall. It's hard for you to see because I have the sweater on, but on my left side, what starts to happen, because I'm having trouble going into external rotation, which is this way, and that's what you have to do when you get up here. So when I get to the top, my rib cage on this side flares out a little bit, and if my rib cage flares out, then I can get my arm to the wall. Another way you can test this, test a different part of your shoulder, is put your palms up instead of your palms down, and now you should be able to do the same thing. This tests internal rotation and external rotation, plus shoulder extension, okay? And the last one that I'm going to leave you with is, again, your feet are gonna be crossed. You're gonna have your arms crossed like this with the same stick in your hand. And the reason that you want your legs crossed and sitting on the ground for this one is you're gonna be testing the mobility of your upper spine. And if I'm sitting on the ground with my legs crossed, I take out the mobility of my lower spine. So I should be able to get the stick to 45 degrees on both sides. If I can't, then I have to look at my upper thoracic or my upper back to find the problems, okay? So here's what I want you to do. I want you to give those a try. If you can't do them, comment below and let's figure out why this is happening, okay? Looking forward to your comments. Hope you're having a great day, and I will talk to you soon.